I'm gonna tell you a true thing, guys. As a man, you cannot exist inside the frame of a woman's world. And I say this without any arrogance. But it occurred to me a few days ago. I was thinking about all this and I was like, man, it's so crazy because the way the world is designed now, and we grew up, a lot of us in our generation, is designed that you're chasing after women all the time. And of course, they feel that they're a prize and all that, which is whatever. But the thing about it is, when you're constantly trying to please a woman, it almost becomes you living in her world in a sense. And I think this is something that people of young men of our generation are struggling with, but not even just young men, because I see middle-aged men, married men. I observe this so much. You go to the supermarkets and you have women in the supermarkets with their husbands, and their husbands just look like they don't really want to be there, but they have to be there. And it's, oh, the woman wants this and the woman wants that, and they just playing along. And if sometimes you see couples that get into like, let's say arguments or discussions, and even if the man is making a suggestion, a better suggestion than the woman just, continue to go on and on. The man is just like, oh yeah, you're right. I've seen this for real. And I look at it and I'm just, because, look at me, I'm just like saying a million things at the same time. I just feel that men, a lot of the time, they're just tired. They just don't want to have to spend their energy on such things. And it just makes me think about a lot of things because, believe me, as a young man, especially as a Christian man, you should not be seeking after any other type of woman but the type of woman who is devoted to Jesus and as a result would be devoted to you. You cannot be chasing after a so-called career woman and all that kind of stuff where you're existing in her frame. She's supposed to be a helper for you. You're not supposed to be a helper for her on following her on her journey. She's supposed to be following you on your journey, and your journey is supposed to be a journey towards Jesus. Now, and I hope what I'm saying is not misunderstood as if you don't do things for your wife, you don't help. That's not what I'm saying, but I'm saying the general direction that you should be taken as a unit is the direction that God, in the purpose that God has shown, I believe, for the man. You cannot be going in two separate directions, and and I think it's important to say even among Christians, because while Christian men and women will talk about how, oh yeah, even women will say, yeah, women, you have to submit to your husbands. A lot of the time, these women who say this, God bless them anyways, I think what they are really saying is, yeah, I'll submit to my husband as long as my husband is doing what I want him to do. That is what I truly, genuinely believe they're saying. You can just tell it in their body language, in how they speak, and in their actions. Um, but it's not all women are like that. There are actually women who are devoted to the Lord, and as a result, they're devoted to their husbands. And in like manner, what women will often say when they hear men say things like what I'm saying is, oh, but what if the husband is not doing this and all that? They're always going to be pointing at what the other person is not doing. And I would honestly say, as men, frankly speaking, we need to do our best to be the best type of men that we should be. But and that's always, all the time, regardless of whatever the situation is. But it's not an excuse for women to point the finger and say, oh, because that man is not perfect, so that's why I can't do it like that, I can't do it like that. And I just see that as I'm not even going to specifically talk about why women do that. It's obvious why women do that, because submitting to anybody in itself can be difficult, right? And women, I think, have a natural desire, a worldly desire to control men or control their husbands. I really genuinely believe that. And you can see it in society if you pay attention. Even women who are decent women, they have that desire to control their husbands. And a lot of them do, because their husbands just get worn out, which is why I'm sure the famous saying of becoming neutered became a thing, because you just get worn out. You can't keep on arguing with women, man. It wears you down, man. Really does. So I would just advise any man who's not already married that do not be that guy who is existing in a woman's frame before you get married and expect that to change after you get married. You have to be very very clear about who you are and the purpose that God is giving you and where you are going and what you expect from your woman, at least that's the best you can do. And you leave the rest to God. You pray about it, and you let God direct you in how you pick a woman. Very important. You don't just pick a woman because she has some good traits. She may even love God, but it doesn't mean that she's for you. She may love the Lord, but it doesn't mean she's for you. So you have to be prayerful and trust the Holy Spirit's guidance in all these things. Um, if a man is already married and he is already in this kind of situation where he is dealing with a wife who's trying to be controlling all the time, well, may the Lord give him wisdom on how to handle such a situation, But for younger people or even older people, it doesn't matter what age. If you're not married, I think it's wise to observe what is and pray to God for a better thing. Do not just continue in the circle, and just because it is the seeming circle of the world. We are not of the world, and we don't have to do things of the world, and we do not have to repeat the same wrong things over and over again. Married people will often tell you, "Oh, this is how it is in marriage," and whatnot. And if they don't, some of them may not even say that from a bad place, but you have to understand that your life is never determined by what people's reality was. Jesus has given us the ability to always have better, to always do better by His grace and His strength. Now it's up to us to believe for a better thing, and then by our belief we will act it out, but not just to accept anything that comes our way. And I say this especially to men who I know do not wish to live in an existence less than the existence that God has called for them. You need a woman who is devoted to the Lord, and as a result, she'll be devoted to you. You really do. And if not, I sincerely believe that it's better to be single and have Jesus, dwelling with you all the time than to bring in chaos into your life. I personally have indulged, I suppose, in relationships where it was what I wanted, but it wasn't that God sent me into those things, and it can be so chaotic, man, because you're trying to force what you believe is righteousness in a situation that probably God never even sent you in the first place. And it takes a toll on your mind, and as a result, your body too. And your spirit, for sure, is not connecting with God probably as it should. But God is merciful, and He always corrects us when we make errors, and shows us the way. So I pray to God for myself, and I pray to God for other young men listening to this, that we be wise in how we do things. And you need the Holy Spirit to guide you. Now, this is key because we seek the Holy Spirit guidance, but when we really want something, sometimes we try to make it that the Holy Spirit does what we want instead of we doing what the Holy Spirit wants. We are all guilty of this, I'm guessing. I know I am anyways, of doing this in my life. So, and I hope that the young women listening to this, that they also do not misunderstand, but that they actually aim to be the type of woman that God is pleased with, and not bend the truth, but be bent to the truth, as we all should be, man and woman. We must let Jesus bend us, and we cannot try to, bend Him. It's impossible. We're only fooling ourselves when we do such things. Hey, I don't want to make this video any longer than it is. It's great to be back making videos on YouTube. If you guys like some of my videos, I never say this is the first time. If you like my videos, be sure to subscribe. I don't really care if people like the videos, but with the physical button, I'm being sincere. I really don't care. But God bless anyways. You guys have a great day. Jesus bless always.